Good morning, it's Stephen Williams, founder and president of the creditrepairshop.com. And in today's video, we're going to talk about some things that I see happening uh, in our economy, happening to people, some of the things that I want to make everyone aware of. I want to even talk about my story. Some of you that don't know, I want to let you know that this is just not about me making videos. It's not about me running a business. I've actually sat in the seat, probably even worse than where you may be at right now, maybe thinking where you're at right now. I'm going to put the timestamps on the side here, so for the people that don't care about it, you can skip. Also, still having some issues with this camera, but we'll get it fixed. We'll just work through it. It's like it blinks every once in a while. First, let me just give you a backstory about how I even got involved in this whole credit repair and debt deal. In 1991, when I was 20 years old, I had just got out of the United States Army, and my wife and I moved from El Paso, Texas, up to Wisconsin. I'm from Texas. I'm from Dallas, and but I knew that there was nothing in Dallas for me, and I met her, and we wanted to get married, and we actually moved up to Wisconsin with a Nissan pickup truck. Talking about the little one. I don't even know if they make that one anymore. And $1,500. That was all we had. And long story short, we built a business. We started a business a year later that ended up becoming, uh, now very successful. But at that time, coming from where we were at, where I was working a security guard job after we moved here, making 384.64 every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, that's what I was making as a third shift security guard. But we started a publishing business, advertising, helping local businesses advertise. And back at that time, something had happened where number one, computers were becoming affordable, even though back then they were like $2,000, $3,000, but they were becoming more affordable, and the software was available to actually do things like produce a publication. And printers were actually saying, "Hey, we will lower our prices are lower now, and we'll print." So there was like a boom on all of these free type publications. And that's what we started, like a free magazine to give to people. And when I think back about it, it was like just like how Uber is disrupting the cab drivers and Airbnb disrupting the hotels, and Turo is disrupting the rental car business. And all of these different, what they call disruptor businesses, or disrupting businesses that were going at that time. We were a disruptor of daily newspapers. We were taking business that would have been in their papers, and we were putting them in ours. And we're getting disrupted now, so we had to actually change over. So what goes around does come around with certain stuff like that. But within a few years to 1994, by at that time, well, within 8 months, I was able to quit that security guard job, and within 4 years, I was making over 100 grand a year with that advertising business, and also really only working a few days a week. And we made that very successful. But what happened was we started buying a lot of stuff. We had 6 cars. We had moved onto this huge farm. My wife had got into the horse breeding and showing business. We had got credit card debt, all types of stuff, and we had ended up $300,000 in debt. So we went from not having money, barely making it, to having a lot of money and just barely making it, just spending money when we get it. So, Christmas of 1994, I tell the story a lot about that because it was Christmas of 1994 that my wife and I sat down and we said we're not going to go through this anymore. I couldn't even. I'm making $8,000 to $9,000 a month. I can't even send money home to my mother. I mean, it was embarrassing. So we actually told everybody, all family members, that we were just going to send Christmas cards, and we only bought presents for our children. We had 3 kids at that time, and we just bought them stuff, and we only paid cash. If we couldn't pay cash, we didn't get it. And we wrote down a plan to get out of debt. We were like, we got to pay this stuff off, and the only way we knew to do it was to give stuff back. And then when we started giving the cars back and cutting off credit cards and stuff, they would call us, and then we would say, well, we can't pay this amount. What about this? I think it was just one account that actually opened the door to the thinking of settling debt. And so we were like, we could settle that for, like 25 cents on the dollar. It was like, wow, okay, well, let's pay that one off. And then let's move on to the next one and pay that one off. The debt from the repo, how much would they take? Let's pay that one off. But remember, it was 300,000. It took us all the way to 1999 to become 100% debt free till 1999. What I learned during that time frame was some very important lessons. Was number one, when you don't have your money going out in payments, you save a lot of money. Because after that period of time was the first time that I had ever bought a car and paid cash for it. And again, I don't buy new cars, so it was a used car, good deal, paid cash. And I'm not one of those saying that you shouldn't get a car loan, so don't flip that around on that either. But we were able to save a lot of money. No, another thing too, we were able to save our marriage. We were able to save our marriage because I was setting a bad example for my children, setting a bad example, us together as a couple. So first thing, we saved our marriage. We're about to be married 31 years. You don't get many couples that's together 31 years nowadays. So saved our marriage, saved our business, and really saved a lot of pressure on ourselves because there were other downturns in the economy that happened after that. So let's move forward. There was a downturn in 2001. Uh, didn't feel any of it. Businesses didn't shut down like they shut down now, but it was a downturn. And we kind of went, you know, things went down, but we never suffered money wise. Uh, and then one of the things that we had came across, I think it was after 2001 or right before, is we had heard about Dave Ramsey, and we were, and I was looking into his program about, getting out of debt and kind of comparing it to what I had put together. And because I was, like this guy is really good, and I had looked at his program, and I was like, what do they actually do? They help people get out of debt with a debt snowball, and you you pay off the smallest debt, and money from that payment, you go to the next one and next one. And I was like, that's an excellent plan. In a way, we used that type of strategy when we were getting out of debt with stuff. That was a similar strategy that we had used. And but when I would look and I had talked to people that used this program, and what was one of the major flaws with it, which is even a part of his program when he talks about stuff, but I think that it's with the understanding is that there's a huge cultural difference between the way that African Americans or minorities manage debt and from the uh, white society manages debt. Not to be like like this is some type of prejudice type thing. It comes from a cultural uh, uh, mindset, a cultural way of looking at things. That's probably a better way to put it. Is that people look at things in a different way, and that when you're coming from a perspective of one community and you're looking into the minority community, there's a lot of things that you don't see the same way. And so what I started doing is I was like, let me break this down. What was different about what the way that he tells people to do things? That right there is like the same. What's the difference is the way that we internalize debt and the way that other cultures internalize debt. And what I learned is that every culture internalizes debt in a different way, but everybody is affected the same way. Let me give you an example. Uh, I have white customers, you know, white customers that come to me, and with the way that they look at debt is a lot of them will look at it as that's debt and I could either get rid of it and have an easier way of restarting my life. Not all. I'm not painting everybody with with the same brush here, but I have people where they do uh, from the white community where they it seems that they feel like they could start over a lot easier, and I think that that's because when you are from the white community, when you walk into a place, you're not judged the same way as someone who sees someone a certain color, or because I mean, let's just be upfront. When a person walks in, the first impression is what they see of you, and not of what you can do. It's what they see, and then whatever is in their cultural upbringing, what they think will come first on the way that they could think that they can help you. And that is what, even when I talk to my white clients, and I have a lot of them, uh, that they have that feeling like if you could just get me this situation taken care of, I know that when I go to get this job or when I go to, I'm going to get approved for this loan. They have that feeling. Now, from the black community, this is how we feel. It's like, okay, even when we had our credit up to par and we went into a place, we were still not sure that we were going to be able to get it solely because you never know the feelings of the individual across the table. Now, don't have to take my word on this. You can just look up online about redlining and how people are turned down for loans, and even how African Americans were given higher interest loans when they had better credit than white people that had a lower credit rating. That's documented. So it's in, and that's what I call cultural conditioning. Now, with Dave Ramsey's program, and I've had this experience with Hispanic, with Arab community. I have a whole bunch of Arab customers. I mean, a lot of Arab customers. So there's the way that they internalize debt, the way that they will feel that number one, especially in the Arab community where interest rates and paying interest and having interest over them is like something that they want to really avoid. It's against their religion in a way. Well, not in a way. It's against their religion. So they're very uh, walking a fine line, even when they're paying interest or charging someone some type of interest. Uh, they have to, make certain. They have to do certain things a certain way, or they won't feel right because they feel that they're going against their religion. And the same in the Hispanic community with certain things on the way that they feel about debt. Uh, something also that's a cultural difference, but Dave Ramsey is also kind of pushing it in the white community against filing bankruptcy. And I'm not against filing bankruptcy if you have to file bankruptcy. And as a matter of fact, if you don't know, Dave Ramsey did file bankruptcy. He filed personal and business bankruptcy, but he teaches people not to file bankruptcy. Uh, So now let me do my timestamp because I want to. We're going to move into something that I feel that's being repeated right now is from 2006 to 2008. Like it's repeated. This is like deja vu. All of this is happening all over again. Uh, a lot of my clients from my advertising company knew that, I had kind of told them a little bit about me with my financial stuff and that I had figured out ways to get out of debt and repair credit because I had got out of debt first, then repair my credit. And so they started sending customers to me. And when I started my company, Real Debt Solution was the parent company. All I did was business customers, help them get out of debt. They overfinance with real estate, all types of stuff. And then they started referring customers to me, and I started helping their family, and then I made the credit repair shop. But the thing that I see that's being repeated right now, even if we didn't have the virus, even if we didn't have the virus, it was going to happen right now around this time or a year from now, is that I'm getting customers, business customers that have medical bills, credit card debt, overfinanced mortgages where they refinance, business debt, all of this stuff is piled up on top of them, and now they have to work their way out of it again. It's like a repeat of what had happened in 2006, 2008. And it's just like, and if I think about it, it's like a 10-year, 8-year to 10-year cycle on all of this stuff that happens. So, uh, if you find that you are having problems with your debt, uh, my number one advice for you is if you're a couple, you need to sit down. You need to write out a plan on getting out of debt. You need to sign that plan so both of you will stick to it. You need to uh, execute that plan. And you need to figure out if you're going to use like Dave Ramsey with a snowball where you're going to pay everything and not do settlements, or if you're going to give stuff back and then work out settlements with them. Because, you can't allow yourself to just have tons of debt stuck on top of you. It is just not a good way to live. It's better to take steps backwards so you can move forward. And also understand that getting out of credit and repairing debt, uh, repairing your credit and getting out of debt is a process. It is not something that's overnight. Uh, it's going to take time. It's going to take time, and there's going to be hurdles that come about. There's a lot of follow-up work that must be done, and you must be willing to follow through with that. And some months might be good months, some months might be bad months, but if you keep the goal in mind, you will get there. So let's see here. I just want to put on the timestamp. Let me answer a quick question here. Someone posted, and this is a very important one. Someone said they got a court summons, and they're like, "What will happen to me if you don't go to court?" And I made a video about not going to court. Don't go. If you don't go to court, they're going to get a default judgment against you. And you only have a certain amount of time if they get a default judgment to where you're going to be able to go back into court to fight that. But it's going to be an uphill battle when that happens, because you're going to have to actually pay money to actually go back into court when they've paid the money to bring you to court. And that is the time to do to answer the court summons. Number one, you could lose because you didn't even answer the court summons. So watch my video on that. And then you need to show up to court and make sure that you fight for your rights. Even if you lose, at least you fought for it. And you might see a window open that you didn't see either in the court summons or from something that the lawyer that represents the original creditor says in court. All right, the next thing, let's talk about debt settlement versus debt consolidation. Let me take a quick drink here. I wanted to discuss this because I had a potential client call me yesterday, or I called them yesterday, and they were talking about debt settlement. And well, what this is what happened. They said they saw a commercial, and the commercial said, excuse me, said that you can get out of debt in 24 to 48 months, pay half on your credit card debt, medical bills, stuff like that, personal loans. And what happened is she signed up with the company and she was sending them a payment, and she thought that they were paying the credit card companies, and they wasn't. And she was like, she felt like they took advantage of her. And I was like, well, what it was they put you into a debt settlement program. So let me tell you the difference: debt consolidation and debt settlement. First, let's just start with debt settlement. You see the commercials on TV. I even advertise for one of them. The link is below here if you want to go to them. It's National Debt Relief. Basically, what they do is they're gonna get all of your credit card debt, medical bills, unsecured debt. It can't be secured like an automobile, but it could be automobile deficiency debt. Anything that's not attached to collateral. And what they're going to do is they're going to give you an estimate on how much they believe it would cost to settle all of that debt. But what people are not paying attention to is they think that they're paying them the money. No, they're putting your money into an escrow account, and then they're letting that escrow account build up. And then what they do is they contact the companies to uh, say, hey, he owes you $4,000 in credit card debt. Uh, we can offer you $1,000. Will you take it? And the company will say yes or no. And if they say no, then they just move on to the next one and then come back around on that one. But this is the part that what she didn't understand that caught her off guard was that no credit card company will settle with you until the account is goes into what's considered a charge-off status. So what these companies do is you're going to pay them payments, pay them a portion of what you would have paid the credit card companies if you with all of your payments added up. So what they're doing is they're saying, okay, you would have paid $700 a month if you paid the minimum. Pay us $400 per month, and that money goes into an escrow account, and you stop paying your credit cards. And then what happens is the credit card companies are going to start calling you. You tell them that you're with this company with getting a debt settlement. They're going to still try to call you regardless. So you have to be prepared for them putting a lot of pressure on you. They're going to be calling. They're going to be like, "Hey, are you going to make these payments?" They're going to have their collection, uh, either internal collections, or if they end up sending it to a third party to collect, they're going to still try to come after you for the money. And but they have to. It has to go into what's called a charge-off status, and I'm pretty sure that these companies tell people about it, but uh, just like I talk about in my videos, that when you are emotional and you have problems with debt, probably the only thing that you hear is the way out of that problem. Uh, you listen to things, and as long as it lines up, you're okay with it, but you're more focused on the solution to the problem. So to review, if you're going to do debt settlement, they're going to put your debts into they're going to line them all up. They're going to make you go into uh, 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 they're going to make you go into charge off status because no credit card company is going to do a settlement before it goes into charge off. Even if you wasn't in a relief debt relief type program, debt settlement program, there's still credit card company is still going to try to get you to make payments until that card is closed and charged off. Reason why it goes to a charge-off status is because then they can consider that dead against their accounting. That's going to be taken out of their good accounts, put into their bad accounts, so their company's accounting records will be true instead of false for their investors. So now let's talk about, uh, and then well, before I move over to debt consolidation. So what they're going to do is, as you build up that money, which will be probably a year, 2 years into the program, they'll start trying to do settlements. Now, what they don't tell people is that they're not going to tell you the amount that they settled your debt for. That is one thing that they don't do. Uh, that what they're so if you let's just say that you built up funds and you had one account that was $5,000, they settled it with the company, they might have settled it for 1,000. Well, what they're going to do is they're going to balance that against your escrow and what you got and what they have left and what they anticipate coming in from the rest of your payments. They may say, well, we're going to charge you $2,000. 1,000 to them, 1,000 to us. This is how they do it. They do not tell you how much they settle the debt for. So, uh, but the benefit is you're going to, if you follow through with the program, you will be successful in getting out of debt in half of the time. Half of the time. When they say half the time, they mean that if you would have paid minimum payments, you're going to pay for the rest of your life almost. All right, so now let's move over to debt consolidation. Debt consolidation is where you would actually get a loan and you would pay one payment. And that's where people uh, also get kind of mixed up because they're thinking I'm paying one payment to you. So it's like debt consolidation. With debt relief, debt settlement, you're not getting a loan. They're just stopping you from making payments and you're paying into an escrow account. Debt consolidation, you are getting a loan and then you're paying one payment to all of your debts. One of the things that with debt consolidation is that people are going to most likely have to have good credit. They're going to have some type of asset to back that up, but you will end up paying 100% of the amount that you owe back. So a lot of people don't really, when they look at it, they get into debt consolidation. What ends up happening is they end up because it pays off the credit cards and they have those open, they usually end up spending again on those. So they had a debt that they put and they end up having the debt on the cards. The reason why the other one works better, debt settlement, is because you're really not going to be able to get much new credit because you just went bad on all your other credit. So the one is like a backstop against you really doing anything to hurt yourself other than stop paying into the escrow account. With debt consolidation, that one you're going to be paying, yeah, one payment. The payment could be smaller, but you're going to be paying a lot longer. They're not going to do debt settlements on the debt consolidation. Also, you have to be very careful with companies that take payments that handle everything for your debt consolidation and you pay them the payments, because there's some services where what they'll do is they will not necessarily consolidate. They're not going to get a loan to consolidate your debt. What they're going to do is they're going to get all of the creditors to understand that you're in a consolidation program where they will collect the money and they will disperse it. What we've seen with some of these companies, and there have been problems where people had paid for years and none of the money had ever went to the uh, uh, to the creditors. Even in Chapter 13 bankruptcies, something that I mean, I guess this is the way that the game is played, is that the money that is collected by the trustee, the attorney, everybody, the courts, everyone gets their money before any of the creditors get their money. So that's why when most people end up in a Chapter 13, they end up going into a Chapter 7 because it just really doesn't usually work out for them. Quickly, to close out the video on the Santander demand letter, had our first groups go out, very successful on getting those out, going directly to legal department. So we'll be keeping you updated on the results on those. Um, it looks like a lot of people are focusing on repairing their credit. They want to when we get out of this virus, when we get out of the next this financial downturn that we're experiencing right now, they want to be in a better place. They want to be in a better position. And the way to do that is to take care of things right now while everybody is focusing solely on what's going on with the virus and feeling depressed. Take action now. Do things. Start a business. If you need some uh, have questions about starting a business, throw some of those in there too, because you're talking to someone that started my first company with a $500 investment, and that $500 investment was really just money that we had saved up, just put aside. It wasn't like we had the 500 right at that time. So I can show you how to start a business on a shoestring and how to have the right mindset to move your self towards success. Like someone that was like probably that you might feel that came from where you came from. There's like if you were to talk to one of my children about, especially my youngest daughter, um, you know, she you when you get to a certain position, you give your kids advantages, and there's certain things that they don't see that you had solved in building a business and stuff. So you're talking to someone that was all the way down at the lowest level that brought themselves up. And so if you're looking at starting a business, ask me questions. I love answering questions on those too. All right. If you need help with your credit, please visit our website, thecreditrepairshop.com. If you need your credit reports and scores, please visit the website, the number three scores.com. That's one of the ways that I support the time of doing the channel here. All right. Thanks a lot. This is Stephen Williams, founder and president of thecreditrepairshop.com. Thank you.